From the sunlit courts of Quezon City to the thunderous stadiums of the WTA Tour, a quiet revolution has been unfolding, and most people didn't even see it coming. Before the cameras, before the roaring crowds, before the rankings exploded across sports headlines, there was just a young girl with a racket and a dream too big for the island she stood on. But here's the question that keeps fans watching until the very last second. How did Alexandra Eala transform from a hopeful junior into a global force rewriting history for the Philippines? And more importantly, what did it cost her? Stay with this story, because what you're about to discover isn't just about trophies or prize money. It's about sacrifice. It's about pressure. It's about a lifestyle that looks glamorous on the outside but demands everything behind the scenes. Born on May 23, 2005, into a family shaped by discipline and excellence, Alexandra didn't grow up in chaos. She grew up in structure. Her mother, Riza Eala, was a former national swimmer and SEA Games bronze medalist, a woman who understood competition, pain, and podiums. Her father, Mike Eala, provided stability and vision. But the true spark? That came from her grandfather, who placed a racket in her hands when she was just 4 years old. And from that moment, something clicked. Local courts in the Philippines quickly became too small for her ambition. Coaches noticed her intensity. Teachers saw her focus. Friends began to realize she wasn't playing for fun, she was playing for something bigger. And that something bigger demanded a decision most children would never have to make. Leaving home at a young age, Alexandra moved to Spain to train at the world-renowned Rafa Nadal Academy in Manacor. Think about that for a second. A teenager leaving her country, her comfort zone, her childhood, chasing a dream in a foreign land. That isn't glamorous. That's lonely hotel rooms. That's homesickness. That's growing up faster than you should. But that move changed everything. By 2020, she had climbed to world number 2 in the ITF junior rankings. The tennis world was beginning to whisper her name. Then came the breakthrough that echoed across continents, the 2022 Junior US Open title. With that victory at the US Open, she became the first Filipino to win a junior Grand Slam singles championship. History wasn't just knocking. It had kicked the door down. But here's what most people don't see about success at that level. Once you make history, the pressure doubles. Every match becomes a headline. Every loss becomes a question mark. Every win becomes an expectation. As she transitioned into the professional circuit, Alexandra reshaped her identity. She wasn't just the junior champion anymore. She was building a style, aggressive, fearless, unapologetic. A left-handed baseliner who strikes early and flat, forcing opponents onto their heels. Her forehand became her signature weapon. Her two-handed backhand delivered stability. Her return of serve? Bold. Anticipative. Relentless. Yes, her serve still needed refinement. Yes, critics pointed it out. But champions aren't built by avoiding weaknesses, they're built by confronting them. And then came the rivalries. Matches against Mira Andreeva carried echoes of their junior battles, where Alexandra once dominated before tasting the reality of professional-level adjustments. Encounters with Linda Fruhvirtova showcased the depth of her generation's talent. And the intensity of facing Alina Kariva revealed just how razor-thin the margins were at the top. These weren't just matches. They were tests of resilience. Then there was her growing hard-court edge against Hailey Baptiste, a rivalry that began tilting firmly in her favor, signaling something important. Alexandra wasn't just competing anymore. She was adjusting, learning, evolving. Hard courts became her strongest battlefield, where she won nearly 59% of her matches in 2025. But clay demanded patience. Net play required sharper instincts. Each surface forced her to adapt, and adaptation is what separates contenders from champions. And while individual glory was rising, something even heavier rested on her shoulders: the Philippine flag. Wearing national colors changes everything. It transforms personal ambition into collective pride. Bronze medals at regional competitions. A flawless run in international team events. Gold medals that made an entire nation stay awake past midnight just to watch her play. With every victory, she wasn't just climbing rankings, she was expanding belief. Back home, young girls began picking up rackets because of her. Parents began seeing tennis as more than a hobby. Sports networks began dedicating primetime coverage to her matches. And in February 2026, when she broke into the world's top 40, reaching a career-high ranking of number 38, She didn't just set a personal milestone. She shattered a ceiling no Filipino player had ever crossed. But here's the hook you didn't expect. What happens when dreams start coming true faster than you imagined? When ranking points multiply, sponsorship calls increase, and global brands begin circling. When fame accelerates before you've even turned 21. That's where the real transformation begins. Because the rise of Alexandra Eala isn't just about tennis anymore. It's about money, influence, lifestyle, global branding, and a world that suddenly wants a piece of her story. In Part 2, we go deeper. Into the numbers. Into the rumored $75 million contract. Into the luxury, the cars, the houses, the dating whispers, the philanthropy, and the future that feels almost inevitable. You think you know her story? You've only seen the surface. And what comes next might surprise you more than any comeback she's ever staged. Now here's where the story shifts from inspiring to astonishing. Because talent may open doors, but money, fame, and global power walk through them. And when Alexandra Eala cracked the world's top 40 in early 2026, something bigger than rankings changed. The tennis world didn't just see a rising athlete. Brands saw a global icon in the making. Corporations saw influence. Nations saw representation. And suddenly, her value wasn't measured only in forehands and backhands, but in millions. Oh, let's answer the question everyone whispers but few fully understand. What is Alexandra Eala really worth in 2026? As of February 2026, her official career prize money crossed $1.5 million. That number alone is impressive for a player barely in her 20s. But here's what most viewers don't realize. Prize money is only the beginning. The real financial explosion happens off the court. After her breakout 2025 season and a statement run at the Miami Open, endorsement negotiations accelerated. Companies weren't just offering deals. They were offering long-term partnerships, brand-building contracts, image rights, limited edition collections. And then came the renewal that changed everything. Her reported $75 million extension with Nike. Whether structured over years or tied to performance milestones, one thing became clear. Alexandra was no longer a regional ambassador. She was global. With Nike anchoring her commercial empire, other partnerships strengthened. Globe Telecom continued backing her as a national pride figure. BPI reinforced financial sponsorship ties. Babolat remained central to her on-court identity, providing the tools behind every explosive baseline rally. Add to that exclusive Middle Eastern sponsorship arrangements following high-profile appearances in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and her estimated net worth now comfortably sits between $1 million and $2 million in liquid evaluation, while her long-term contract valuations stretch far beyond that. But here's what makes this fascinating. She doesn't live like a reckless celebrity. She invests carefully. She prioritizes family stability. Reports suggest she secured property support for her parents, ensuring that her success uplifts more than just her own future. Luxury, yes, but controlled. Strategic. Mature beyond her years. Oh, where does she live now? Training still anchors her to Spain for extended periods, maintaining ties to the Rafa Nadal Academy. But her lifestyle flows between Europe and Southeast Asia. Think high-rise city apartments near training centers. Think private recovery facilities. Think quiet spaces designed for focus rather than flashy headlines. And the cars? While she isn't known for extravagant automotive displays, endorsement-linked vehicles and luxury SUVs tied to sponsorship appearances have surrounded her schedule. Yet unlike some athletes who showcase fleets online, Alexandra's image remains performance-first. That restraint, it strengthens her brand. Now let's address the rumor that refuses to disappear, the dating whispers. Speculation reignited around her 20th birthday during the French Open when she was spotted in Paris with fellow tennis professional Coleman Wong. A warm Instagram tribute. A photo near the Louvre's Glass Pyramid. Two young athletes smiling comfortably together. Fans connected the dots instantly. Both trained at the Rafa Nadal Academy. Both left home young. Both understand the loneliness of the tour. The narrative almost writes itself. But in a press conference following her Miami breakthrough, Alexandra addressed it directly. He is not her boyfriend. The truth? Their connection appears built on shared sacrifice, not romance. And that distinction matters. Because in an era where social media turns friendships into headlines within seconds, protecting personal space becomes part of survival. Still, the curiosity remains. And curiosity keeps audiences watching. But beyond money and rumors lies something deeper: impact. Alexandra has steadily expanded her philanthropic footprint across Southeast Asia. She has been recognized by leadership organizations in Makati for youth influence and positive representation. Initiatives tied to education access, food programs, and grassroots sports development continue growing quietly behind the scenes. Some reports connect her involvement to projects similar in mission to the Next Play Foundation model, focusing on opportunity for underprivileged children. Here's what makes that powerful: she understands what access did for her. International coaching, elite facilities, exposure to competition abroad. Now imagine replicating even a fraction of that access for thousands of kids who never thought tennis was possible in their neighborhood. That's legacy thinking. And legacy builds brands stronger than any endorsement deal ever could. But we're not done. Because the biggest question isn't about money or relationships. It's about what happens next. Technically, her game still has room to expand. Her serve must gain more consistency under pressure. Second serve aggression needs sharpening. Tactical variation on clay courts requires deeper patience. Net transitions can evolve from occasional surprise to strategic weapon if those elements align. The top 20 doesn't feel ambitious, it feels realistic. And imagine that headline for a moment: a Filipino player breaking into the top 20 of the WTA rankings. The sponsorship surge that would follow. The global media tours. The influence spike across Asia. The commercial leverage. The generational inspiration. This isn't just a career. It's a movement building momentum in real time. Oh, here's the final hook, the one that keeps viewers thinking long after the screen fades out. What if we're not witnessing her peak? What if 2026 isn't the arrival, but only the foundation? Because Alexandra Eala's lifestyle may already look luxurious. Her contracts may already look massive. Her ranking may already look historic. But history has a pattern. It rewards those who refuse to get comfortable. And if her trajectory continues at this pace, the next chapter won't just be about millions or medals. It will be about redefining what's possible for an entire generation. So whether you follow her for the tennis, the inspiration, the financial ascent, or the mystery of what's coming next, one thing is certain. The rise isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. And the world is finally watching.